So, sorry to break you guys' hearts. There's no intro being overrun this week because sadly Naki is out of town. So, Anthony and I are left on our own here on Sunday, June 15th, 2014 to carry the show without Naki's random stories, which make me laugh. I'm very curious what her kids have done lately. and for those that are wondering what I mean, I don't mean her kids literally, but the ones that she has to manage at work.
Her passel of varmints.
Yes, let's not start any Naki has kids rumors right now. That would be bad.
Naki's got kids? I just rewatched Hook.
That's an awesome movie.
Yeah, fuck Doug
Hook.
Benson. I love Hook.
Rufio.
Rufio!
Man, I need to get that on Blu-ray at some point in time. Is Hook even on Blu-ray though?
I don't know. It should be, goddammit.
I've got
It's
the
a
Amazon.
Spielberg film. It's amazing.
I'm looking it up right now because this is very important to know.
Yeah. Dustin Hoffman, freaking what's his face that just died, played Smee.
It is $9 on Blu-ray.
There you go. Gotta have it. Gotta
$9 on
have it.
Blu-ray. So there you go. You go go scratch that Hook itch and go buy the movie, folks. It's a good one. Or just don't listen to me because I'm full of crap. Either or. I mean, what? But
Same difference.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to episode 112 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This week, there's only the two of us. Like I said before, it's myself and Anthony. Hola, sir.
Hola.
I don't
Good
know why I
morning.
went to Spanish there.
Hello, Taco.
Hello, taco. Oh, I want tacos now. That just makes me think of a really crappy... when I lived in Oklahoma, there was a restaurant called Taco Bueno. It was a fast food chain there. And their mascot was a dude called Senor Bueno, and it was a hand puppet. And I'm trying to get my hand on camera.
Good.
Where they just painted eyes on, and then a mouth right there, and he would just sit there and talk. And that was their mascot for Taco Bueno.
Wow. Well, that's one way to make the commercials cheap.
They were hilarious commercials, but bear in mind I was also like 13 at the time, so what was hilarious then, about 16 years later, might not be. Oh God, I just dated myself.
Yep.
I feel
That's
old.
funny because
I feel
Taco
old.
Bueno makes me think of the place that opened up next to Captain Comics, the store I used to work at, my LCS. This guy opened up a wine shop. So, nothing spectacular, just he imports some wines from around the local states and just tries to sell, cheap wine. So he did a mock-up of the logo that he wanted for the store and just, a bottle of
That's
wine
awesome.
and just some colors. And then he just wrote, Bueno Cheapo Vino. So just good cheap wine, like as just an idea of what he wanted for his logo. He sent it off to a company, and they messed with it for a month, and they came back and they said, we can't come up with anything better than good cheap wine. That's the best
love it.
fucking name for a wine store ever. So yeah, his store is actually just called Bueno Cheapo Vino.
Well, it's good SEO if you think about it.
It's like, what's at that store? Good cheap wine, man. It's fucking right up on Front Street. He ain't hiding shit.
So
It's
I
good,
just
cheap
Googled it.
wine.
Taco Bueno still exists. It's still in Edmond, Oklahoma. It's a chain. Evidently, you can order online, but I can't find any of the Senor Bueno
Nice.
stuff.
That's
And
cool
now,
that it's still there.
now I'm saddened because they've evidently changed their mascot since I remember seeing this 13 years ago.
Oh, just think how cheap the production value is. You're just fucking drawing, dots on your hand.
The best was one time there was one commercial, and I know I'm taking us way off topic, and I apologize, guys. I'll get us back. That he was like, "Oh, our salsa's so good, it's so spicy." He goes, "But it's so hot." So they stuck the hand underneath the soda fountain and just had it there guzzling soda for like 5 seconds on screen, going, "Oh, it's so hot!" And I was like, "What the hell? Why do I like this so much?"
It burns your hand's throat. That's just weird.
It was twisted and weird, but it's the Midwest. What can I say? It was much better when I lived in Colorado.
I miss living in Colorado sometimes.
I do too.
I bounce back and forth between here and there with my parents.
I spent 3 years growing up in Colorado, lived in Colorado Springs. It was a beautiful place to live. I'd go back
Nice.
in a heartbeat.
I lived in all the woods. I lived in
Ooh.
Applewood, Lakewood, Englewood, and then Golden for high school. I did a year
Nice.
in Golden.
Yeah, I
Could sadly smell the brewery.
spent 3 years in Colorado Springs and went to Explorer Elementary School, if I remember right what it was.
Nice.
Yeah. So now you guys can figure out where I went to elementary school if you're really that in depth trying to figure us out. Please don't, because there's nothing important there. I swear.
That'd be some serious stalker shit.
Yeah. We haven't gotten a stalker yet on this program, though, so maybe we're due. Please don't stalk me.
Naki wants a stalker. That's all I'm
Oh,
saying.
God.
She wants to feel loved.
This is what happens when Naki doesn't come on the show, is that we set bad things up for her. So if you listen to this, Naki, I apologize. But since I don't figure you're going to listen to it...
Nope. He's not going to listen, so I don't apologize.
I call that the JS effect. And if you guys aren't familiar, I do another couple podcasts. One's the Gonna Geek podcast, and JS, John Sebastian, the French-Canadian sensation, is one of the guys that's on there with me. And if he's not on a podcast, he doesn't listen to it. So the best way to figure out if he's paid attention is you wait until there's not a show, there's a show he's not on, and you say whatever you want. You're like, hey, JS, did you hear what we said last show? He's like, no.
It's like,
You put little traps in there.
See, that's funny because I only listen to the shows that I'm not on.
Yeah.
I can't go back and listen to myself. I have to admit it, I hate my own voice because I'm tone deaf, so I don't sound the way, to me, recorded that I do when I normally talk.
I'm the same way. I hate listening to myself, but I think it was John D, aka Wing, who made the suggestion one time. So now I try and do it. He goes, the best way you learn what you need to improve is to go back and listen to yourself. So I try and catch every random episode here or there to go back and kind of critique myself. It's
I've
an
thought about
exercise in
that, but
pain.
yeah, it would definitely be an exercise in pain. Apparently, I'm not growing as a podcaster because I don't think I've ever actually gone back and listened to an entire episode of myself
I can't do an entire episode, but
on anybody's show.
but if it's a show I'm on and I'm not on that episode, I'll go back and listen to it after it's aired because I need to know what I should argue about next episode. Like, you guys were full of shit on this.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, if I missed a weekend here, I'm listening to that fucking episode.
Exactly.
I'm gonna hear what bullshit Naki talks about me. I'm gonna hear it.
And then I'm going to come back the next week and be like, all right, I need to preface my statements. This is all about last week's episode.
Yep. I have 4 points to make. God damn it! Here we go.
I have a monologue prepared.
We go run this shit down point by point.
And you guys think I'm joking. Just wait. Next time I miss one, I'm coming back with a list and a prepared monologue. And there'll be inspirational music in the background while I give my monologue.
I'm gonna love it if Naki shows up next weekend with a list and a monologue.
That's honestly what I'm kind of hoping for by doing this right now. I
would be
I won't joke.
super cool.
I'm hoping to stir the pot a little bit and get some fun stuff out of it. Because I'm very mature. Very mature.
Of course.
And I'm a grown up.
Being an adult doesn't necessarily mean that you're a grown up. I have no problem being an adult. I don't plan on being a grown up for at least another 5 to 6 years.
That's true.
I'm
like
a
that
36-year-old child.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm a 29-year-old child then. Like it. Don't ever grow up, kids. Don't ever grow up if you're listening to our show. Take our advice right here. Don't.
Everybody's in such a hurry to grow up. There's nothing fun about it.
Man, once you hit 25, you got nothing left. 25 means you can rent a car. The next.
Well, the upside is you have all the freedoms, but most people don't take advantage of them. Every once in a while, I will have motherfucking cake for breakfast. I do it on purpose to be like, you know what? I'm a fucking adult.
I'm a grown-ass man. I can do what I want.
I'll have ice cream for breakfast on a Sunday morning, because fuck the world, while I'm watching cartoons. I don't care if I'm 36.
I had cold pizza for breakfast this morning and watched Power Rangers because I'm a fucking man.
Nice. That's how you do it.
I had no shame. And then I was like, oh yeah, I got a podcast. So then I came downstairs and podcasted. Because I'm very prepared today. Very prepared.
Yeah, we're prepared enough.
We go prepared-ish. But before we move on to the news of the week, I just did want to say hi to our people in the Peanut Gallery today. It looks like we've got Mike, the draftsman, and Neil on there. And Mike has added in, do not grow up, it's a trap. And is it bad? I heard it's a trap in Admiral Akbar's voice.
There you go. I think you're always supposed to. Yeah, it's a trap. I think you're always supposed to hear that in Akbar's voice.
But I guess we should roll into our news of the week while we got time. Because we're going to do a little bit shorter today because it's just a lot of news. But my news of the week, I'm going to go first, is that supposedly Netflix is in talk to produce a new Star Trek series. You guys might be going, well, where the hell did you hear this? I saw it on a Google Plus post from the community Starfleet Intelligence that said that at the Phoenix Comic Con, Larry Nemec was there, who's one of the authors and producers for Star Trek, and had basically added that, yes, there were negotiations going on between CBS and Netflix to do a Netflix original Star Trek series. Now, they didn't say anything about whether this takes place pre or post the Abrams flip-flop of the universe or anything like that, but holy crap, man.
Oh yeah, because
Holy
that
crap.
would be the big question if they do a new Star Trek TV show is what universe does it reside in? Because there's now 2 timelines for the Star Trek universe, right?
Yes.
Though I have to say, of course, the real big news of the week from that article right there is that yes, kids, Google Plus is still a thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's not much more information other than that this came out at the Phoenix Comic Con, that Netflix approached CBS on hosting it, and then show would air exclusively there, which is badass. Excuse me, badass for them, because if you look at it, Netflix has 45 million subscribers. That's a lot of people.
Netflix is working their way up to becoming the biggest fucking TV entity in the world.
I know.
They're just stealing shit.
The only question I would have is how many new subscribers would that result in? Because Netflix makes a big deal of the fact they've got like TNG, the original series, all the Star Treks are on there. So presumably, Trek fans, Trekkers, Trekkies, whatever term you want to use, they've either bought the DVDs / Blu-rays or they've got Netflix already. How many people do you bring in with a new Star Trek series? I mean, I would think there'd be some, because there's a reason.
Yeah, if it's really good, you can make new fans.
That's also
people
true.
That maybe weren't fans of the old Star Trek shows.
But between that and all the Marvel series coming out, if I didn't already have a Netflix, I'd be getting it.
Oh, definitely. And I do love the fact, did you get the email about being grandfathered in for the price?
Yes. For those that aren't familiar, Netflix is raising their price for new subscribers, and they sent an email out to current subscribers, basically grandfathering you in for what is another 2 years at your $7.99 a month before it goes up.
Which, I mean, the fact that eventually it's going to go up, it's kind of a given, but I love the fact that it's not the, hey, we're just going to fuck the people that have been with us forever. It was, hey, we know you've been a subscriber. We appreciate your business. We're not going to fuck you over. New people are going to pay more. So that's kind of nice.
I think they learned their lesson from the whole Netflix and Quickster thing when they tried to separate them and then make it so you'd be paying like $14 a month to have everything.
Yeah, which at the time I would have been, because I was getting 3 discs a month and the Instant Queue.
Right.
And if I ever get a pay raise, I'm going to go back to getting 3 discs a month, god damn it, because I missed the DVDs.
See, I don't miss them that much. Pretty much anything I want to watch is streaming. But Mike's brought up a good point in the chat room in regards to the Star Trek series. He said he hopes Rod Roddenberry's involved, and for those that aren't familiar, that's Gene's kid.
True.
He did put out a really good documentary, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life right now. I'm going to look it up. But it was basically about, he admitted that when he was growing up, he didn't have the greatest appreciation for either his dad or the Star Trek franchise, and this was after his father had passed away. He went and did a documentary asking people about Trek and why it meant so much to them, and pretty much relearned about his father or through that process. It was a really good documentary, and I can't remember it to save my life.
Trek Nation.
That's it, Trek
2011.
Nation. I believe it's on Netflix. I'm not 100% sure, but really, really good biography and documentary. Well, it's more of a documentary. I'm a documentary nut, though, guys. I'll watch a ton of them.
I found some good ones on Netflix.
Yeah, and this one, he even interviews George Lucas about the influence Star Trek had on him. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Really good documentary. I'd check it out. But yeah, it'd be interesting if Rod Roddenberry was involved. I'd be for it. I think. I want Ronald D. Moore back on that Star Trek side of things, though. Because the best run of Star
Trek Nation is available in the Instant Queue.
Ah, there we go. So check it out. There's a side note. There's a really good website if you guys are ever looking to see if something is streamable. It's called canistream.it, and you just search the title. It'll tell you if it's available on any of the streaming sources. For instance, it tells me that Trek Nation is available streaming on Netflix, Hulu Plus. It's on Crackle for free, but you have to watch ads. You can rent it from Amazon, Apple, Google Play, Vudu, YouTube, all sorts of places. It's a cool website.
Nice.
But I'll stop rambling now. I'm going to kick it over to Anthony. I'm sure he had some big news for us this week.
There was indeed some big news. I'm going to start off with DC is fucking stepping up to the plate and straight Babe Ruth pointing to the fucking stands and calling their shot. After basically, last couple of years of killing it on the TV side, but just being destroyed by Marvel on the movie side. DC supposedly the rumored film slate for the next 7 movies is between May 2016's Batman 5 Superman up to May 2018's actual Man of Steel 2. There's going to be 7 DC films in that 2-year period.
It's ridiculous,
So,
kids.
yeah, the alleged list right now is May 2016 Batman 5 Superman, July 2016 Shazam, Christmas 2016 Sandman, and I'm assuming we're talking Neil Gaiman, not the classic.
That's my guess.
Dodds with the smoke mask and the. Though I would love to see that as a movie. I would love to see Wesley Dodds gassing people in an old school film noir black and white
That'd be
movie.
cool.
May 2017 actual Justice League, because we all know Batman 5 Superman is Justice League Light. July 2017 Wonder Woman. So after all this time, it was going to take until fucking 2017 after the Justice League movie, a supposed Wonder Woman film.
After Joss Whedon tried to do it.
Yeah. And then Christmas 2017 Flash/Green Lantern team up, and then May 2018 Man of Steel 2.
But did you catch the interesting note on the Flash and Green Lantern team up? It is not Ryan Reynolds coming back.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I think is pretty much confirmed is that Warner Brothers is not going to move forward with anything with Ryan Reynolds, at least Green Lantern wise. I would laugh my ass off if they had the balls, if they're not going to go with the TV Flash, which I think it would be better if the universes were interconnected. I think they should do what Marvel's done, but they might have trouble convincing enough producers and executives that would work. But if they want to go with a new Flash, I would laugh my ass off if they had the balls to cast Ryan Reynolds as fucking Wally West. Because you bring in Wally West as the Flash with fucking Ryan Reynolds with blonde hair, and then put a new Green Lantern in the suit and give us fucking Kyle Rayner and Wally, which is my fucking superhero duo from the DC universe. Those are some of my favorite stories when it was Wally and Kyle running together.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this movie slate, though, this is incredibly ballsy. It's 3 movies a year. Not even Marvel's doing that.
Yeah.
And Marvel's taking... I mean, we've talked about it before, the Marvel approach versus what we assume to be the DC approach, to do a soft intro and then do Justice League. Man, they're swinging for broke. This is either going to work great or fail miserably. I don't think there's any middle ground.
True. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. Yeah, it's going to be either fantastic and all those are going to hit. Because I mean, okay, so say 1, maybe 2 of them are a flop. If 5 of the 7 make $600 to $800 million, that's still not bad. I mean, they won't be hurting.
I can tell you the 2 looking at this now that I would have the least confidence in, and that would be Shazam and Sandman. Because to a common person, they're going to be like, who?
Yeah, and putting those 2 in a row, especially right after Batman Superman. So in between Batman Superman, which is the intro to half the Justice League characters, and the actual Justice League film, they're going to do 2 movies based on their magic-based supernatural characters that have a much smaller following than any of the other characters listed on that list. I mean, that's just crazy talk.
Honestly, what's going to tell me if this works or not, and it's going to sound really weird to say, is how well Guardians of the Galaxy does next month or in 2 months. Because that's Marvel's attempt to do this weird, wacky group of characters no one's heard of before, and to see how a general audience reacts to that. That determines, I think, whether Shazam and Sandman are going to be able to pull it off in the future, too.
Well, and the big rumor being that, The Rock has talked to DC multiple times. Everybody wants to see The Rock play, a superhero eventually in tons of films, besides Hercules. I know it was based on the Impact comic book or whatever company, but whatever. But we want to see him play an actual superhero. If he shows up in Shazam as Black Adam, that gets you your draw. Because then it doesn't matter what kid is Shazam. Because if Rock is the villain, that will bring people into the theater. But who the fuck are they going to get to go out and see Neil Gaiman's Sandman other than, emo kids, goth kids from the 90s, and Neil Gaiman fans?
Yeah, I don't know. Looking in the chat room, Neil has said, not sure going with Shazam first makes sense, much like we've been saying. And then Draftsman has said, I would actually like to see Sandman be like a sleeper hit.
I think it's definitely possible.
I think that has more like cult classic associated with it.
Yeah, but I mean, there are great Sandman stories out there. It could do amazing in the theaters if it has the right word of mouth and they, preview it correctly.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
being said, I don't understand their movie layout they're doing here. Plus, there's also the fact that Guillermo del Toro has been talking about for what, like a year and a half, 2 years, that he's been working on Justice League Dark.
yeah.
Where the
Which
hell is
yeah
that in here?
isn't on the list. Well, the last rumor I heard is that he's moving forward with Pacific Rim 2, and that it actually is a sequel, not a prequel.
Interesting.
And I'll be honest, I love Guillermo del Toro, and I like some of the characters that would be in Justice League Dark, but I'd much rather have more giant robots punching giant fucking monsters.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
Pacific
disagree.
Rim was amazing. Yeah, and then out of that, there was a small bit of casting news. In Batman 5 Superman, we already have Batman, we've got Lex Luthor, we've got Superman, we've got Wonder Woman, and Cyborg. And now they've announced that Jason Momoa will be Aquaman.
This is the rumor that just won't die, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
This
it
rumor
is.
started what, like 6, 8 months ago?
I know, and yeah, it's circling back around. And honestly, I have to say, one, it makes sense because you get Jason Momoa with his shirt off, and that'll bring in the ladies. So
Yeah,
there's nothing
exactly.
wrong with that. It puts a pretty damn good actor that's known for some good action stuff, who's just came off of Game of Thrones, freaking Conan, which didn't do great, but he wasn't bad in it. Just the script wasn't great. The guy's got a lot of sci-fi and geek cred, and making him Aquaman actually would interest me in seeing an Aquaman on film if it
Because
was
it's
Jason
different.
Momoa. Yeah, I don't want to see just some surfer dude in green sparkly shorts. Like, I don't want to see that. I want to see someone that looks like the badass king of Atlantis. And you can't tell me that Jason Momoa is going to go on screen wearing an outfit that he thinks makes him look stupid. He's going to look like a
Yeah,
badass. I mean, he won't allow them to put him in something that makes him look dumb.
there's that. I enjoyed Alan Ritchson's portrayal of him in Smallville, but that's a different beast, Smallville entirely. But now the
Yeah,
fact that I associate
definitely.
him
Yeah,
with
his
Thad
Arthur Curry
Castle.
was good. Yeah, because his Arthur Curry was good, but I don't think you could take that character and put him on the big screen and interest a worldwide audience.
Yes. Well, I missed a couple comments in the chat room. Draftsman had said Shazam would be cool if they introduced a cool Zatanna or other magic-based characters, which would be neat. That was supposedly was going to happen in Justice League Dark. Mike has said he's
Yeah,
not even familiar with Sandman, but Neil brings up, and I think he's got a good point. Sandman could be a great HBO series now that they've officially passed on American Gods.
very true. And yeah, I mean, Shazam's also it's one of those things. I mean, I know DC's rewritten their history, but Captain Marvel was the first superhero. I
Right.
mean, he has a lot of longevity, a lot of stories, and is a really great old school 1940s concept of a little kid who says a magic word and basically becomes a god. And he's pure heart. He's always the good guy. Like, he's the only person that makes Superman look kind of stuffy. Like, Billy Batson is just pure good guy. And so, I mean, if they do it right, Shazam could be an amazing film. It's just the idea of if they do it wrong, it's going to be so awful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then Sandman. I mean, if Mike's ever read any of it, there's a couple. I think Preludes and Nocturnes. I think is the re-released intro trade paperback to the Sandman series. I picked that one up to let the wife read it because it's kind of to wedge you in the door for reading Sandman, because there is so much of it that it's a daunting task to start reading Sandman and all the volumes and volumes of trades. But that's a good one to pick up to kind of give you an introduction to the character.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's worth checking out. I've heard good things. I haven't read it myself. I did want to bring up one last thing before I move off the topic, because there might be some doubt we can throw on this Justice League story after I've read another story. Is that the news came from Nikki Fink, or Finke, or Finky, however you said, I don't know. But she's been big on Hollywood breaks and stuff, and she said the reason Batman vs Superman was pushed back was because, quote, like Marvel's The Avengers, there'll be cameos of superheroes for future installments. The cameos will include the already known Cyborg and Flash. Green Lantern may be introduced, and Aquaman will be seen in the Justice League movie. Problem is, Warner Brothers was still negotiating with the actors for those cameos and future roles. Notice she said Aquaman in the Justice League movie,
Yeah, not in Batman 5
not in
Superman.
Batman v Superman. So I don't know what's going on. It also does seem to indicate that the Flash won't be Grant Gustin, based off the way they're describing that. Nor
Yeah,
will, if Arrow shows up, nor will it be Stephen Amell.
which highly disappoints me. I really want to see the connected universes.
They're going back to a point they were like in 2006 where they had Smallville and Superman Returns on screens. They had two separate versions of Clark Kent on screen, which is something
Yeah.
Marvel's been able to avoid by tying in their TV universe to their movie universe. So they're different approaches. It'll be interesting to see how well it works.
I hope the upside is that we have possibly more superhero content, which is awesome. Good or bad, I love all superhero movies because I remember growing up in the '80s and there being the Dolph Lundgren Punisher, and that was it. It's like
Yeah,
we
exactly.
didn't have superhero movies when we were kids until 1989 when Batman started, and we started getting actual good superhero movies. That was the first shit since the Superman films, and there was no Marvel stuff. And so, I mean, just the sheer amount of superhero movies we get these days is just fucking amazing. But oh man, when they do them wrong, sometimes it just hurts. But the downside is that if they really like the Flash movie, do we end up seeing that take away from the Flash TV show? And DC stops backing it and caring about it. If Flash is making them millions in the movies, but the TV show isn't doing as well, do they cancel it? That I hope we don't see, because I think that show looks great. I hope it doesn't end up hurting Arrow in the long run. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
we have a new Arrow in the Justice League. We don't need the TV show anymore.
that would suck.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Arrow. I did want to bring up something really quickly. I think it was at Phoenix Comic Con. Stephen Amell was doing a panel there where he did confirm that, in fact, it was Harley Quinn that was in earlier episodes of Arrow, and that there was an additional scene with Harley Quinn in the finale that was cut out.
So yeah, because I've seen pictures of the actress that was playing her. They had her in the orange jumpsuit with the pigtails.
Right, yeah, there's a cast photo that one of the actors, I'll put it up on screen share, had shared on his Instagram, and that was her on set when they filmed the Suicide Squad episode.
Yeah, there we go, with the white face makeup.
Right, and Stephen Amell had said that there was a Harley Quinn brief cameo in the finale that was cut out, and he's like, as a fan, I'm kind of bummed. He goes, I hope we can do something more in the future with her, something to that effect. I'm not directly quoting her. But hey, that'd be badass. That was just a minor thing. And then I guess one last DC TV news piece is, I don't know if you guys have been watching any of the Constantine trailers that are out that NBC is going to have. I guess
Indeed, they look good.
in the international, one of the international trailers for it, there's about a 2-second glimpse of somebody holding Dr. Fate's helmet in the
Yep,
trailers.
so
And I'm like, ooh, Dr. Fate.
that could be their intro to all the Justice League Dark characters right there. Is Constantine.
That could be.
Talk about a show that could have cameos. Frickin' Constantine, was in and out of basically all the Supernatural and Vertigo books, I think, during his run. I'm not sure if there's a Supernatural DC character that he didn't come in contact with.
I have no idea myself either.
I read some of the Constantine run, not all of it though. It's another long one. It's goddamn
There's a
good
lot.
storytelling though. There are some great Constantine stories, so they have a lot of really good source material to pick and choose from.
Draftsman has said he's read the whole collected Sandman. There are several stories that would work on film, but it's something like Constantine or Seven in tone in audience, is how he described it.
Yeah, Sandman's not going to be going for the kiddies.
No.
If they try to tone that down and make it like a PG or PG-13 film, that's stupid. If they're smart, that they should just rank that sucker up to a straight R and make it violent, demonic possession, devil shit.
Yeah, no
It should
doubt.
just be crazy supernatural stuff.
Neil's also added in, he goes, casting calls for 3 new Arrow characters were announced last night. He started reading, but then quit to try and stay at least a little spoiler-free.
Nice.
So we'll probably talk about that on the Starling Tribune at some point if I go and find the story. Because I'm trying to stay spoiler-free in a lot of stuff lately, too. Like, I haven't even looked at the leaked photos from Star Wars because I want to be spoiler-free.
Yeah, it is a hard thing to do in this day and age. I went into Scream 4 spoiler free. That was the last movie that I specifically didn't want to know anything going in. I didn't look at the cast list on IMDb, like nothing. And
That's
really
nice.
enjoyed it when I got to the theater not knowing anything about what was going to happen. But I mean, yeah, some of these films like Star Wars and stuff, there's going to be so much information out there that it's going to be really hard to basically avoid the internet for the
Exactly.
next 2 years. It's
I'll-
like that's tough. It's a tough thing to do.
I will watch the trailers. That's about it. I'm not going to go out of my way to look at set photos, casting rumors, things like that. Anything that Lucas/Disney officially puts out, I'll look at. But nothing,
There you go.
no set leaks or anything like that. I don't want to know. The reason I bring that up, the whole Star Wars mention, is because there was news that came out that Harrison Ford was injured on the set of Star Wars. Now, there's varying reports to what extent it was. The most common thing I'm seeing reported is that he broke his ankle on set. Supposedly, the Millennium Falcon, the doorway in the Falcon closed on his ankle and broke it. That is the rumor I'm hearing. And then there's another site that's trying to be like, oh, it squished him and then broke his hip, and I've only seen that one place, and it was a tabloid out of England, so I don't think it's true. But from what I have seen and some stuff that came out last night officially from Lucasfilm is that Harrison Ford is recuperating quite nicely. There's no plans to delay production and filming of the movie. And from what I'd read is that if his ankle is in fact broken, J.J. Abrams will just do a lot of shots of Harrison Ford without being able to see his feet.
There you
won't
go.
Delay anything. So bear in mind we should be fine. Also, remember the last time Harrison Ford injured himself badly on set was when he broke his back in one of the Indiana Jones flicks. I think it was the first one, and it was really good.
It's the old superstition: if Harrison Ford hurts himself, it's a great movie.
If Harrison Ford hurts himself, it's got to be good.
And yeah, honestly, put him in a cast. Off the top of my head, thinking back, I can't tell you what type of boots Han Solo wears. So apparently, you don't really need his feet on film that often for us to get the full character shot.
I think Solo wore like the almost knee-high boots in the original trilogy, because they all wore big-ass boots. Now I'm curious.
Well. What type of boots did Han Solo wear? And there was one more piece of casting news. This one, I believe, is not rumors, is confirmed by everybody involved. Marvel Studios Netflix has casted their Daredevil Kingpin. So for the 2015 13-episode Netflix Daredevil series, I love it on Newsarama. The article says, Marvel Studios has cast Vincent D'Onofrio, he of Law & Order Criminal Intent and Men in Black fame, as well as
No.
Really? Men in Black fame? No. Law & Order Criminal Intent and crazy as shit Gomer motherfucking Pyle from Full Metal Jacket fame.
Private Pyle!
That is what Vincent D'Onofrio is known for. He did that role. He was amazing. He had to disappear from acting for like 20 fucking years because apparently nobody would cast him as anything. No. And then he came back on an NBC TV movie as a villain. And from there, his career just fucking blew up. He did Cell, which I know it has Jennifer Lopez in it, but I tell you people this, if you have not seen Cell, you have not seen a psychological serial killer movie on par with fucking anything out there. That movie is spectacular, and he is creepy as shit in it. Vincent D'Onofrio is a hell of an actor, and the idea of, Wilson Fisk, the problem is you want somebody big. It's got to be somebody with size. And sadly, our last Wilson Fisk is dead. We don't have Michael Clark Duncan anymore.
Who was perfect.
He was a black guy playing a white character. But you know what? A black guy growing up in Hell's Kitchen makes just as much sense. And he was amazing in the role, and he was huge. Vincent D'Onofrio is not quite Michael Clark Duncan size, but I gotta say he's got him beat hands down on the acting chops. So we'll get a big ass Vincent who can now just be eating ham sandwiches all day. Get as big as he wants because he's playing fucking Wilson Fisk. So you got to love that part of a role where they say, oh, and for this job, eat whatever you want, put on whatever weight you want. We don't give a damn. You can't physically get too big to be Wilson Fisk because you're the kingpin of crime and you can do whatever you want. So he's got to be loving that right now. He's sitting at home having a tub of lasagna, eating some ice cream, just living it up. But yeah, I am stoked to see that because that's so far, because they announced the Matt Murdock guy, which I can't remember what show he's from, but
I can't remember. Not an unknown. We talked about it a while ago.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. Not an unknown, but he's not someone that pops off the head of just the common geek. But when you say Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be on the show, that's a fucking name.
Charlie Cox is
Charlie
Daredevil.
Cox. Yeah. So not an unknown. He's done some work, but he's not hugely known in pop culture. But Vincent D'Onofrio, that's a motherfucking name, and that's someone with some serious acting ability. I am super, super excited to see him as the Kingpin.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Because, oh yeah, man, and when he plays a bad guy, he's so fucking creepy. He's so good at just pulling out that evil part of himself and just,
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
Draftsman brought up a good point in the chat room. It made me laugh at least. He goes, "Bad news for Harrison Ford. Great to hear that they have some practical sets that can do some damage."
That's true. I mean, we did talk about on an Elegant Weapon. We talked about how happy we were on the J.J. Abrams contest page that he was showing all the stuff in Abu Dhabi where they had the practical sets. And we're like, it's awesome that it's going to be a mix of practical and CGI because nobody wants the pure CGI that they had in the prequels. I'm thinking Harrison Ford might appreciate a green screen right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And we didn't get a chance to talk about it much on this show, but E3 was this last week. Lots of cool stuff coming out, especially in the Wii U, which surprised the hell out of me. I don't own one, but I'm kind of tempted now. But then I'm cheap, so I'm not going to. But the new Zelda looks amazing. Both Microsoft and Sony had some big announcements, but it seems like the bulk of the things aren't coming until 2015, so no reason yet to buy a new next-gen console unless you really need one, folks. And if you do want to hear more about E3, I'd check out the Unqualified Gamers podcast on the Gonna Geek Network and also the GonnaGeek.com podcast because we recap some E3 facts on both of those. So if you want E3 news, go to those guys because they're the Unqualified Gamers. They know better. They're qualified because they're unqualified, if that makes sense. I don't know what that means.
Because you know.
Exactly. One thing I did see at E3 that I'm personally excited for, I wanted to mention real quick, is that they're doing the Master Chief collection of Halo games, Halo 1 through 4 on one disc for $60. I'm intrigued. I'll probably buy it.
Oh, is that all those new ones where they're updated?
Yeah, and they're updating all the graphics and things like that. So they'll put Halo 1 through 4 with updated graphics on one disc, and you can play any levels you want at any time and all of the multiplayer maps. So you get over 100 maps in that one disc also. It's going to be awesome.
Because honestly, I'm not a huge FPS fan. I'm not a gigantic Halo fan. But I saw the images that they put out of the updated graphics, and holy fuck balls. It's an amazing jump in some of the screens that they showed.
Right, and the way they're sort of spinning it on that one is that there will be additions to all four games that kind of tie into what Halo 5 is going to be, and if you buy the Master Chief Collection, you get an invite into the beta for Halo 5.
Nice. And Dressman also mentioned in the chat room that Vincent D'Onofrio is 6'4". He could bulk up. And I checked, and on IMDb it says 6'3.5", but pretty close. Yeah. And it has Michael Clark Duncan at 6'4.5". So he literally is almost Michael Clark Duncan's height-wise. I don't think he's quite the width and shoulders because Michael Clark Duncan was a big boy, but I mean he's damn near that big. So he's close. Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio is not a small kid. He's a big boy.
And he's a big dude.
Get that boy some steak sandwiches and give him some heavy ass weights. Start doing some Olympic powerlifting. Build out that beef up that chest, get a little wider, and then put on a pimp ass $5,000 Italian suit.
I like that description for it too, pimp ass. I'm gonna use that for other things now.
And then hopefully shave his head. You got to be bald if you're the Kingpin.
Yeah, you have to. There's no choice there.
Kingpin's too busy. He ain't got time for haircuts. He ain't playing that bullshit. He got shit to do. He got work.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. But looking at the time, since we're down to man, we're probably going to wrap things up a little early this week. I did want to say before we start wrapping up, big thanks to our Peanut Gallery for joining us today. It's always fun to have people in there commenting away with us.
Indeed.
For those of you that aren't sure what we're talking about, we stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. You can do all the math from there over at live.atgnpodcast.com. We have a chat room set up below the YouTube video so that we can chat along with our viewers. We're about 60 seconds ahead of them at times. That's why we get a little disjointed in responding to things. So there is that. But before we wrap up, we'll just do so in our traditional sense of sharing what we've been getting into, what we've been doing for the last week. For myself, I've been playing video games because I'm still playing Watch Dogs, a lot of it, and I'm strangely addicted to all the side missions, not the real missions. And I've been getting caught up on Orange is the New Black to get started on Season 2, hopefully tomorrow. I forgot how good that show is. It's really good.
It's damn good.
I've been enjoying it. And
I believe someone in the chat room said they just powered through all of Season 2.
I think it might have been Draftsman, but I'm not 100% sure. What was the other thing I was going to say?
Draftsman said I just binge watched Orange is the New Black. I don't know if he meant all of Season 1 and 2 or just Season 1.
I don't know. But
yeah, that show is great.
It's really good. I forgot how good it was because we'd stopped around episode 8 because we got distracted with some other stuff and then started rewatching this weekend. And I was like, holy crap, I forget how good this is. And then I will admit,
all-female cast and amazing acting.
Yeah, I was weak last night and I was at Target and I bought a new Blu-ray because I heard Wing talk about it, and I bought the new RoboCop on Blu-ray for $11. I don't know if that was a good choice or not, but I'm going to watch it because I
I
love
like
the
it.
original one.
It's got good parts to it. It's if you're looking for Verhoeven's teardown of 80s commercialism, you're not going to find that. It's not the social commentary that the original RoboCop was, but it has some really good parts.
And it has
There's
a
some
great cast.
Yeah, it's got a great cast. There's some great CGI. Some of the cast is going to let you down. They're not going to be quite as spectacular as you would like them to be, but there's some characters that are great, and it's got some fun action sequences. It's got plot holes you can drive a fucking truck through,
Oh, I don't
but
doubt
it's not a
that.
bad action film. Yeah, it's just don't go into it expecting the craziness of the 80s drug cocaine fueled, Paul Verhoeven fucking original RoboCop. If you just go into it as an action film, it's fucking great.
Fair enough. So I'll be checking that out probably this week at some point in time once I get done with Orange is the New Black. But that's enough for me. What have you been getting into, Anthony?
Still Coloring Geek. I uploaded 3 pages this week, so I got my new schedule going where I have a certain set time where I give myself a day or 2 off each week, so I'm not kind of driving myself crazy, and
That's
it seems to
probably a
be
good
working
idea.
better. Yeah, so I'm more focused on the nights when I'm coloring, and I'm getting a lot of work done. And because of that, I got to spend a bit of time playing some WildStar yesterday. Still loving that game. It's such a fucking blast. 4 of my friends here locally, we've all got a little tiny guild going together and just digging the hell out of it. The game's hilarious. The graphics are great. They've been fixing bugs since the game launched. Was it 2 weeks ago on Tuesday? Like it's still a brand new game. There's still issues. The fucking gold spammers showed up and went crazy this week. And WildStar has introduced a report spam button on the mail feature finally.
Oh, nice.
Though right now every time you click the report spam button you get an error because it's just an add-on that they built real quick that is having trouble. But it's one of those things where every time a problem pops up, they're trying to give you an answer as quick as they can. Carbine Studios and the guys working on WildStar, they're fantastic. They're so quick about trying to get anytime there's a problem, patches. There've already been 3 or 4 patches since launch.
Oh,
Trying
nice.
to fix issues. So I mean, yeah, they're quick. It's one of those games where you're paying $15 a month for it, but they're showing already that it's worth it because this isn't some game that they put out on the market and they're forgetting about. This is a studio backing a game, busting ass, designing new stuff right now, as well as having a team that's constantly fixing any problem that anybody comes up with. So yeah, Carbine and those guys are doing great. Also, of the new comics I picked up last week, all of them were pretty standard, but
That's awesome.
Big Trouble in Little China, written by Carpenter and Powell, so Eric Powell of Goon fame, with John Carpenter. So literally, the man who did fucking Big Trouble in Little China, and Brian Churlow's artwork is gorgeous. But yeah, this book starts off as the Pork Chop Express is going down the freeway in the storm, and Jack's saying his fucking speech from the end of the movie. That's where the comic starts. So they don't miss a beat, and it's fucking spectacular. Everybody needs to go pick up this book. If you're a John Carpenter fan, you must get this comic. You will not regret it. The artwork's amazing, and the storyline, the one first issue's come out, but the storyline so far is just fucking spectacular.
That's pretty cool, though, I gotta admit. Now I might need to go check it out, I'll be honest.
It's a good one. At least go pick up the first one. And I don't know if they're still doing it. They were having a big Comixology sale, but now I can't think of what it was. Damn it, it was a big one. Oh, it was Preacher, I think. All Preachers,
Ooh.
99 cents.
That
But
could
I'm
be
not sure
cool.
if that ended yesterday or if it was today. But yeah, anybody that doesn't own the Preacher books, you're just losing out because goddamn, that's a good story.
Nice. Well, so there's your recommendations what to go check out, folks. We're not going to steer you wrong here on all things good and nerdy.
Get on it, people.
Just going to mess with people.
Nah, not yet. I'll wait.
Yeah. Looking in the chat room real quick. Let's see. Mike has said he's been addicted to Marvel Alliance lately. And then referring to Orange is the New Black, Draftsman has said he loves that the show covers all the minorities, women, black, Hispanics, lesbians, immigrants. Awesome stuff. And then one last comment from my good friend Dr. Bob, who's in the chat room. He did post us a link to a Star Wars X-Wing knife block, which is a knife block that holds, or an X-Wing knife block that holds your knives. It's pretty badass. They're doing pre-orders right now for £70. So that's kind of expensive here in the U.S., but if you're really interested, go check that out in the chat room.
Okay, that is pretty fucking cool looking.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's cool looking.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't need it. It'd be fun, but oh, man, last thing I need to do is buy more nerd stuff in my house. I got too much.
Chrome effect plastic knife holder. It is shiny. Very, very shiny.
Shiny. Now I want to watch Firefly.
Shiny.
But guys, I think that's going to wrap us up for this week. Like I said earlier, big thanks to everyone in the chat room for joining us today. Don't worry, we should all three of us be back next week, possibly with a new special guest. I'm not sure what's going on that front. I'll hit up Naki on that and see what's going on, but don't worry, we are back next week. But until then, make sure you check out all the other great shows on the Gonna Geek Podcast Network over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. So we'll see you next week, guys, and bye.